Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tommy the Techie, and in today's video, we are going to launch an AWS EC2 instance and use it to host an Apache web server. Before we begin though, let's define some of the terms that we'll be using. To start off, let's define AWS. So, Amazon Web Services, AWS, is a vast collection of on-demand cloud computing services that is used by businesses worldwide to meet their strategic goals and to reduce capital and operational costs. EC2 Instance. This is what we're going to be deploying. An EC2 instance, Amazon Elastic Cloud Compute, which is what EC2 stands for, is a virtual computer hosted in the cloud. These virtual computers can be used just like any other server. You can use them to host a website or a database. You can use them to test and deploy code. You can really use these like you would any other traditional computer. A huge advantage of using an EC2 instance over traditional computing is the speed at which new servers can be deployed. What used to be a several hours long process, or in many cases even longer than that, is now ready within a few minutes at the click of a button. This in turn leads to increased scalability and durability of your production resources. Apache. Apache is a lightweight open source server that is ideal for a variety of workloads, such as static websites, databases, reverse proxy servers, and load balancers for high traffic websites. Its versatility and easy setup make it a favorite of web developers. SSH. SSH, which stands for Secure Shell, is a protocol used to securely connect to a remote server. The standard port for SSH traffic is port 22. And you'll see later on in the video what that looks like, because that is how we are going to be connecting to our EC2 instance. Now that we have some of our terms defined, let's go over some of the prerequisites of this project. In order to follow along, you would need the following: your own AWS account. The free tier is fine. To do what we're doing today, you don't need to spend any money. You will need a basic familiarity with the AWS Management Console. You will need a foundational knowledge of the Linux command line, and also a basic knowledge of Bash scripting. Today's scenario: your company wants to start shifting from using on-premises servers to using servers in the cloud. Rather than purchasing all the infrastructure in a data center, they ask you to create an EC2 instance in AWS to host their new website. Objectives: launch an EC2 Amazon Linux T2 Micro free tier, which is, you'll see, a T2 Micro is just one of the options when creating a EC2 instance. Launch an EC2 Amazon Linux T2 Micro in a public subnet of your default VPC. You should not be creating a custom VPC for this project. Create a security group that allows for inbound traffic on HTTP for traffic from anywhere, and allows for inbound traffic on SSH from your IP address. SSH into your EC2 instance and install Apache with a custom web page using a Bash script. The web page can be a simple hello world or something more complex. We are not testing your HTML skills. Okay, now that we know what we're going to be doing, let's get started. Okay, so this is the AWS Management Console. This is where we are going to be building and launching our EC2 instance from. You can see under my recently visited tabs, EC2 is on the list, but we are going to go over how you would find it if this is your first time signing in. So if you click on this Services button in the top left, you can see all the different types of services here in the left pane. EC2 is a compute service, so if you were to click on Compute, you would see another page of options list pop up. EC2 is among them. You will click on that, and it would eventually take you to the EC2 dashboard. Another way to get there would be to simply look for EC2 up here in this search bar. You can use the search bar to search for any AWS service. So EC2, you see it's up there. We could search for IAM, and you would see that's there. Any service. Okay, so this is our EC2 dashboard. Here you can see the instances running. We have 0. The total instances, I have 2 right now. I have 4 key pairs. I have 8 security groups. This is just an overall idea of how many instances you have in this account. There are a number of ways to launch a new instance. You can see that we have a big orange launch instance button right here on the dashboard, but if we were to click in instances here on the left, you would also see that we have that same launch instance button on this page. Also, take note of which region you are in. Right here we are in the North Virginia US East 1. EC2 instances are region specific, so you must be in the correct one if you are trying to access whatever resource you're trying to find. Okay, so let's go ahead and launch a new instance. Click on this big orange button. And the first thing we need to do is give it a name. We're going to call ours Apache Project Server. Oh. Okay. Sorry, my computer's a little slow right now. So Apache Project Server. That's what we're going to name this. And down here we can select our Amazon Machine Image, or AMI for short. You can browse more of them. Now you can make your own Amazon Machine Images, but as you can also see that they have some of them pre-built for us. Amazon makes their own Linux distribution called Amazon Linux. Here they have the new one, 2023, but I'm going to select Amazon Linux 2 because that's the one I'm more familiar with, and you can see both of them are free tier eligible. Everything we're going to be selecting here today is going to be free tier eligible. Okay. The next thing we need to determine is our instance type. Okay, so earlier we were talking about T2 Micro. That is our instance type. You can see that it's got 1 CPU, 1 gigabit memory. The instance types are just templates of virtual hardware. So you can see they all have different memories and different CPUs. But like I said, we're sticking with the free tier today, so T2 Micro. Since we're going to be SSHing into our machine, we're going to need a key pair. It's required even if we weren't. I've got a few key pairs already made, but we're going to create a new one for this demo. And we'll call this Apache Key Pair. Oh. I have a little bit of lag on my computer right now. Please bear with me. Okay, there we go. Okay, and this is going to save it as an RSA key, and the format is going to be a .pem file. So we're going to go ahead and create key pair. And this is going to ask me to save it. By default, you could see it wants to put it in my downloads folder. That's fine. Most people do put it right there. I have created a key pairs folder for this though, so I'm going to put it there on my desktop in my key pairs folder, and you can see it downloads here. Okay, so for the network, it is selected my default VPC, which is good. That's what we want. The subnet, no preference. We're going to enable the auto-assign public IP. Security group. We wanted to create a security group that would allow for traffic on HTTP from anywhere. So we'll select that. And you see SSH was already selected by default, but this says from anywhere. You remember our objectives specified that we wanted SSH traffic, inbound SSH traffic only from our IP address. So you select your IP address, and this pulls up automatically your computer's public IP address. The storage, we don't need to change. We can leave everything else on the defaults. So let's go ahead and hit Launch Instance. And this is going to go ahead and create an instance for us. It really only just takes a few minutes. Okay, you can see it's successfully initiated the launch of the instance. Let's go ahead and click on this link. Okay, so even though we're on the instances page, right now you're only seeing that one because that's the one I selected. Let's pull this down. Let's see if we see the rest. Nope, just that one. Okay, so this is pending. I'm going to keep hitting this refresh button. Okay, I only had to hit it once, and now you can see that our instance is running the Apache project. Okay, so I'm going to select this project by clicking into this little checkbox. And you see that the connect option has become available. So I'm going to hit connect. And normally it would default to this EC2 instance, but I was in here earlier, and so it was already on my SSH client. This is the page that we are going to use to connect. So we're going to need some sort of terminal. I'm on Windows 10, so I'm going to use PowerShell. I've already got it launched here. And as you can see, it gives us pretty simple instructions on how to accomplish SSHing in. It says open an SSH client. So we got our terminal open. Locate your private key file. Remember, I saved mine on my desktop in my key pairs folder. You would run this command if necessary to ensure that it's not publicly viewable, but we are not on a Linux system, so we don't need to run a chmod. And it's given us our public DNS, which we could use, but we also are lucky enough to be given an example file or example command here. SSH tac I, and that's going to identify the key pair to use, Apache keypair.pem, because that's the one that we created for this instance. And the EC2 user, that's the default user created by this instance, and then it gives us our public DNS. So I'm going to first go to the correct folder. By that I mean the folder where I have my key pair saved. So for me that would be desktop key pairs. And you can see I have my Apache key pair in here. Oh, let's click on this. Alright, so we're going to copy that into our clipboard. Open up PowerShell and right click. That will paste this in here for us. We hit enter. It's asking for our fingerprint because this is a new device. We'll say yes. And just like that, we are in the EC2 instance. So we'll clear that up. And let's go ahead and take over the whole screen with this. Okay, so do a PWD. We'll see that we're in the home folder for our EC2 user. Okay, so our next objective was to SSH into our EC2 instance, which we have just done, and install Apache with a custom web page using a bash script. So we are going to, right here, just in this EC2 user's home folder, we're going to create a bash script right here. So we are going to vim. We're going to call this, oh, you know what? We're going to sudo vim because we're going to want to be able to write changes. So vim is our text editor. Sudo is going to give us super user privileges. And we're going to call this custom page. Keep it nice and simple. Okay, so this opened up our Vim editor, and you can see that there's nothing in here because this is a newly created file. We're going to hit our I key to go into insert mode. We are going to do a bin bash, do our shebang. Let's write a little comment. This is a script to install an Apache web server with a custom HTML page. Okay. So, you know what? Let's save this here. I'll hit escape, colon, right quit. So we didn't put any content in it yet. I had forgotten to check for updates. The very first thing you do whenever signing into a new server for the first time is to check for updates. So we are going to sudo yum, oh wait, no, sudo yum update tac y. No package is marked for update. Okay, so we didn't need to do an update. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Apologies for that. I just had to shut off my recorder and turn off my notifications. Don't want another interruption. Okay, so let's rerun that last command over here. Sudo yum update tac y. No packages marked for update, so we don't need to do any updates. Okay, so we will sudo vim back into our custom page here. And as you can see, we still have our shebang up here. It's a little hard to see, but we still have our shebang up here. And we still have our comment stating what the script is. So we will go back into insert mode. Okay. So we are going to want to download Apache. That's the first thing we want to do. We're going to sudo yum install httpd, and we're going to do the tac y on here because we don't want to have to interact with this script and say yes to all the prompts. We just want the tac yes on there to say yes automatically to everything for us. Typically, after you install Apache, the first thing you do would be to enable it so it would be accessible, but we want a custom HTML page. So when we install Apache, it is going to have a default index file, and the index file is what is going to be presented to us when we access that page through a browser. So if we already had Apache installed, I could take you to the index file and show you, but since we're installing it in this script, I'll just have to show you what the file path is here in the script. Okay, so we want a custom HTML page. So we are going to echo, and let's say welcome level up in tech, exclamation point, blue team rocks, exclamation point. Perfect. And we are going to use a redirect operator to overwrite the index file that is located at usr share httpd no index index.html. That is the file path. So we are going to write welcome level up in tech, blue team rocks, to this index file here. Then, since we haven't enabled it yet, we need to enable Apache. So we're going to sudo use the system controller to start httpd. Okay, so we're going to go back to command mode, right quit. Okay, so let's go ahead and list out the contents of our working directory. We see we have the custom page script, but we can also see right here it is not executable. So let's go ahead and make it executable. We're going to do sudo chmod. We'll do 755 and tab out custom page. We'll do it again, and now we could see that it is executable. For ease of sight here, it has been turned green, so we can just see it at a quick glance. Let's go ahead and run this. Sudo / custom page. Okay, so you can see it is installing Apache here. It is complete. Okay. Excellent. So let's go ahead and cat out that index file. See if it says what we want it to say. User share httpd no index.html. Welcome level up in tech, blue team rocks. Okay. Excellent. And let's do a sudo system control status httpd. We can see that it's active and running. Okay. So it's running and our index file says what we want. Let's see if we can verify that. So we'll go ahead and close that here. All right, so I'm going to leave this page open. I'm going to back over to launch an instance. Click on this again. Okay, so let's click into this, get some details here. Okay, so we have our public DNS and we have our public IP address. Let's go ahead and copy this. And we'll go ahead and http:// And there we go. Welcome, Level Up in Tech. Blue Team rocks. Okay, so there you have it. We launched an EC2 instance. We created a security group that allowed us to SSH into that EC2 instance and to access the Apache page from HTTP, which we just did here, and we customized the HTML page. Okay, so we have completed all of our objectives. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. I hope you had as much fun watching it as I had making it. Hello, welcome to the advanced bonus material for this project. If you watched my last video on Git, you will recognize a lot of these steps. Okay, so our objectives for this portion of the video are to SSH into your EC2 instance, and you can see we have our same EC2 instance up here from the earlier portion of the video. We're still already SSH'd into it. So SSH into your EC2 instance and create a scripts directory. Move your bash script you created earlier from its current location to the new scripts directory. Create a new repository in your GitHub for your bash scripts. You can use this repo in the future for any new scripts you create, or if you need to use one for a future project. And use git commands to add your bash scripts to the newly created GitHub repo. Do not copy and paste the script into your GitHub using the browser. Okay, so luckily for me, I already, in my last project, on my GitHub created a bash scripts repository. And we had used it to create this new user script right here that you could see. Okay, so instead of creating a new bash script repository, we're just going to clone this existing one to my EC2 instance. And then we'll add our new custom HTML script to that repository, and we'll push it back up to here. Okay, so before we could do any of that, we need to install Git on this EC2 instance. Let's check where we are. We're in the home directory of our EC2 user, and if I do an ls, you can see we have our custom page script here from earlier. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to install Git. So we are going to do is sudo yum install Git. Simple as that. We're going to say yes and complete. There we go. Okay, so we'll see if we can run a which git on there, and you can see that it is an user bin git. That's how we can verify that it's installed. Okay, now that we have Git installed, we need to configure Git to use the proper username and email address, and we're also going to set the core editor. Since I've already got my GitHub account created here, I'm just going to use this same username, tom-puntillo. Okay, so we're going to do a sudo git configure, and we are going to set it globally. We're going to set the username to tom.puntillo. Git configure. Configure is not a git command. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's not configure. We are configuring it, but it is simply git config. Okay. My mistake. So git config. We set the username to Tom Puntillo. We'll set the email to fake@fake.com, just like we did in our last video. And finally, we will set the core editor to Vim. We're going to do this globally as well. Oh. And we need to add this space here that we're missing. Okay, config core.editor Vim. Okay. Okay, now that we've got Git installed and configured, let's go ahead and make that scripts directory that we need to make. So we'll go ahead and make dir scripts. We can see it there. Let's go ahead and cd into scripts. And from here, I am going to do a git clone. I'm going to clone this bash scripts repository into my scripts directory here. So we're going to do a git clone and, oh, come on now. Copy. There we go. Oh. But let's change this to git clone instead of got clone so it works. Okay, so now let's do a git status. I didn't cd into the new bash scripts repository. Let's do that. And now I'll do a git status. Okay, so I'm on the main branch. Perfect. And on the main branch, we have a README file. We see that we also have a main branch. Well, actually, no, that's what we're on now. So we're only seeing the main branch with the README file, but I want... I want this master branch. With the new user file. It's the same exact URL. Let's try get checkout to master. Okay, so it switched us to our master branch. and we see that we still have the new user script. Okay. Git status on branch master. Nothing to commit. Home EC2 user scripts bash scripts. Let's go to our home directory. We got custom page here, so let's move custom page to our home directory scripts bash scripts. And then we'll cd back to that. We see them both in here. But let's do a git status. And we can see that the custom page is in the directory, but it's not being tracked by git. So let's do a git add. And we'll add the custom page. We'll do a git status again. And now we can see that our custom page is in the staged area. See, it's staged. Let's commit this. So git commit. The message we're going to say is added custom page file. Okay, one file changed, 7 insertions. Okay, get status again, make sure that we got a working tree that's clean. We do. Let's do a git log. Get rid of that R over here, and we can see that we're on the head. Added this file, committed to origin master. Okay. Let's go ahead and push this up to the origin. Now, we don't have to set the remote origin because we cloned this from the URL, so it should already know where to push it back up to. So let's do a git push upstream origin, and we're going to push it to the master branch. Username is going to be Tom-Puntillo, and here is my password, but this is going to fail because we did not create a personal access token for this. I had forgot to do that. So let's create a personal access token. We'll click on the picture over here, the top right. We'll click on settings. We'll click on the left-hand pane all the way at the bottom, developer settings. We'll click on personal access tokens. We'll select tokens classic. And then we'll hit generate new token. Again, we'll select classic. Let me put my password in here. That way they know it's really me saying this. It's okay to have a 30-day expiration. I'm going to revoke this token as soon as we're done recording this video. The only scope we're going to select is repo, because that is going to allow us to do whatever we need to for this particular demonstration. We'll generate this token. Oh, we didn't add a note. We'll say for bash scripts. Okay. And here is my personal access token. I'm going to copy this somewhere safe off screen, and remember that once you click away from this, it is going to disappear forever, so make sure you copy it. Like I said, I'm going to revoke this as soon as we're done recording this video, so it's okay that you see it. Okay, so let's try to do this git push again. It's going to ask for my username, and we're going to do the personal access token. Okay. Branch master set up to track origin master. So this was a success. We'll go back to my profile here. Click repositories. We'll do bash scripts. We got 2 branches here to choose from. Master has recent push 1 minute ago. Compare and pull requests. Okay. So these were the changes that we added here. So we'll go back to the repository, we'll click on these branches, we'll go to master branch, and now you can see we have our new user script that we had at the beginning of this demonstration, and we also have the custom page bash script that we authored at the beginning of the main portion of our video. And we have just pushed it back up to this repo that we have here on GitHub. So there we go. We have completed the advanced portion of this project. I hope you had as much fun watching this video as I had making it. Thanks. Hello, welcome to the final portion of this video demonstration, the complex objectives. Now, if you watched my last video, a lot of this is going to look very familiar to you. So in this portion of the video, we're tasked with creating a new user. Specifically, our objectives are create a bash script to add a new user, make sure to add it to your scripts directory, and use git to add it to your GitHub. Create a new user using the script, SSH into the EC2 instance with the new user, using only their username and password. No key pairs should be used. Lucky for us, the repository we just cloned to this EC2 instance already contains a new user script from a previous project. We will have to make a slight modification to it to satisfy the criteria. We're going to need to set the newly created user's password so we can try to SSH into our instance as them. Okay, so we're still in our same EC2 instance. I was in the Etsy directory checking something out. Let's cd to our home directory. Okay, so we're at home EC2 user. Clear. All right. So we still have our scripts directory. Let's cd into scripts. Bash scripts. Okay, let's read our new user script here. Okay, so this is the same script from last week's video. We start off by setting the file variable to the Etsy password file. We say, please enter your name, and then using the read command, we record the input and we set it to the name variable. We say thank you, and then we use the name variable to thank them by the name. We say checking the Etsy password file for an existing user with that name. If in that file you can't find the name, or sorry, if in that file this name exists, then say, sorry, the name's already taken, else add the username. This TACM gives it the home directory, add user with the name, and then say welcome name. So after we add the user and before we say welcome, we are going to need to set the password with the password command. That way we can attempt to log in to the EC2 instance as that user. So let's go ahead and vim new user. Go all the way over here. Go into insert mode. And password name. And that's it. So we'll escape, colon, right quit. We'll cat it out again. Oh. We'll cat it out again to see that our password change is in there. Okay. We'll do a git status. We could see that it sees that there was a modification. We'll add it to our staging area. You can see it's there. We'll commit it to our local repo and we'll say added password set to added password command to script. Okay. Your name and email addresses were configured automatically based on your user host name. Please check that they are accurate. Please set them explicitly. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and set them explicitly like it said. Do a git config global user.name Tom Puntillo I'll set the email to fake@fake.com. We'll do a git status. Nothing to commit, but I am one commit ahead of origin master. Do a git log. You can see we just added the password command and we're ahead of branch master or origin master. Okay. So let's do a git push tech u no, let's do a git status real quick. I didn't even, okay, so yeah, we are on branch master. So we'll do a git push tech u origin. I always make that mistake. Origin master. We're going to actually need to create another personal access token because I have revoked the last one since the last recording. So bear with me real quick while I create another personal access token. Again, after the recording, I'm going to right away delete it. And we'll just say we're using this for the new user script. We'll set the repo and generate token. Okay, we'll copy this. I'll put it somewhere safe. And remember, as soon as you click away from this, it will be gone forever. So make sure that you save it in a safe place and don't share it with anybody. Like I said, I will go ahead and delete this right away after this recording. Okay, so let's do this again. Username is Tom-Puntillo. And I'm right-clicking to paste in the personal access token. And we see that that was a success. We'll come back over to my profile. We'll go to the bash scripts repository, onto the master branch. Recent changes less than a minute ago. Go to master branch. And let's look at our new user script. And we can see that the password command was added on line 16. Okay, perfect. That's what we want. Let's go ahead and try to use the script to make a new user. So we will sudo new user. Enter your name. We're going to call this one Spider-Man. Thank you, Spider-Man. Okay, so new password for Spider-Man. Ooh, bad password. Let's try that again. Okay. So, I did choose a bad password. I used password as my password, but that doesn't matter because this is just a demonstration and I will be deleting this. But that's why I called out a bad password. But it did allow me to set it anyway. Okay. So Spider-Man is our new user. So let's go ahead and try to SSH into this EC2 instance with the Spider-Man username. So we'll exit out of here. We'll clear this up. And we'll go ahead and pull this up so I can grab the public IP address. Copied. Okay. SSH Spider-Man at this IP address. Permission denied. Public key. Now we shouldn't need a public key because we set a password for this. So let's go back in. I'm checking the Etsy password file for Spider-Man. we saw that we got the welcome Spider-Man, so we should have, yeah, okay, so it exists. Okay, well, let's try it again. SSH. Let's verify I copied the right. Yep, public IP address is 3.83.107.107. Simple enough. Okay. SSH Spider-Man Spider-Man at 3.83.107.107. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work because I'm already... Silly me. I am already in the EC2 instance. SSH Spider-Man at 3.83.107.107. Let's look this up. Okay, SSH permission denied appears after permission-related settings are modified on the SSH server. Usually scenarios include new package installation or the creation of new users. Yep, so this is a new user. SSH client on local machine user. SSH server on the remote system, a user account. Okay. If you want to use password to access the SSH server, a solution for fixing the permission denied error is to enable password login in the sshd_config file. Okay, so we just have to change the password authentication line. Make sure it ends with a yes. Find the challenge and make it end with no. If the lines are commented out, remove the comment. And it is at etsy ssh sshd_config. Okay, so let's go back in there using the SSH key that we had from the beginning. Cat Etsy. Oh, put a space in here. Oh, put a space in the right spot in here. SSH SSHD. Oh. Okay, we'll cd into Etsy SSH. Cat SSHD_config sudo. Okay. Password authentication is no. We need to change that to yes. Challenge response is no. What did they say about challenge response? Is yes. So we want a yes and we want a no. Okay, so we need to change password authentication to yes. And everything else looks like it could remain the same. Okay. Sudo vim sshd_config. Oh my, okay. Password authentication. Gonna go into insert mode. Change this no to a yes. Escape, right quit. Enter. We'll cat it out again. And now we can see that password authentication says yes. Okay. Let's try to SSH in here with Spider-Man again. Still getting permission denied. Oh, restart the SSH service. We didn't do that. Okay, so let's go back in and restart it with SSHD. Or system control restart SSHD. Let's hope we can get back in there. Okay, we can. Sudo system control restart SSHD. Okay. Now let's try to SSH in as Spider-Man. Oh. And we did it. Okay. So, that took us a little longer than we wanted, but we had some issues with password authentication. But we saw all we had to do was go into the sshd_config file and change the password authentication from no to yes, and we were able to get right in there. Okay, so I hope you had as much fun watching this video as I had making it. Bye.